Hello, it's Crafty Carol here from Northern Ireland with another little project for you. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here. I use all Stampin' Up products to make my things. And what we're going to do today, we're going to make a sort of card come present all in one. I hope it'll make sense as we go through it. So I'm using the gorgeous Spotlight on Nature stamp set and the Spotlight on Nature dies, which are these wonderful circular dies, and we're actually using the ones on this side, which are the sort of trefoil outer one and the sort of slotted inner one. Those are the two we're using, because I'm going to move those out of the way and tell you the rest of the things that we're going to be using today. So the paper I'm using, by the way, is this. It's the Unbounded Beauty paper, and I'm using a paper that's just got a little bit of a pattern, but not too bright a pattern like that one. There's a few in here like this. I thought about doing it in peach pie and using that one, but there's this one which has got Flirty Flamingo, I think, as well as Pretty in Pink. Then there's green, there's petunia, but it's one, you don't want a heavy pattern on this, and you'll understand why as we put it together. So what do you need? Well, to make the box inside, everything will be clear as we start to make it. This piece is 7.5 inches by 10 3/4 inches. If you want to do it in centimetres, that's 19 centimetres by 27 centimetres. I'm going to score that in a minute. The other bits you need 2 bits of coloured cardstock. I've used Pretty in Pink, and these are 4 7/16 by 6 3/8 inches, or 12.5 centimetres by 16 centimetres, and you need 2 of those. Then we also need 2 pieces of DSP, and these are 4 1/4 inches by 6 inches, or 10.5 centimetres by 15 centimetres. Then you also need a piece for the spine of this sort of false book that we're going to make, book card, and this piece is 2 1/4 inches, I think. Hang on, where's my inches on here? Yes, 2 1/4 inches, 2 1/4 inches by 6 3/8, or 5.5 by 16 centimetres. And then you'll need 2 pieces to die cut your Spotlight on Nature circles. I've already die cut mine to save a little bit of time, but to do those, the pink card, Pretty in Pink, 11 by 11, the basic white 9 by 9 in inches, that's 4 1/4 square, or 3.5 square. You also need a scrap for your sentiment, scrap for the decoration, which is going to be a butterfly on here. You'll see that in a bit. So we're going to start off by making the box, and I'm going to use my, if it wasn't stuck in there, I'm nearly pulling the Stamparatus over, that's not good. Anyway, hopefully this will be, is this in shot? I think it is. So not the bottom of it, but the top is, which is all that matters. So we're going to score it on the long side, and we're going to score it at 3/4 inch. And I'm using inches because that's what my scoreboard is. I do have the metric score plate, but actually it's a lot easier to use. I hope that's straight. Yeah. This is thick basic white, by the way. I do think for boxes it's much more stable than the ordinary basic whites. This is the thick basic white. So we're going to score it at 3/4 inch, 5 inches, 5 3/4 inches, which is going off because it's quite a thick card. It's more difficult to score than the thinner card. That'll be all right because it'll be inside the box, and the final score is at 10 inches. So if you're doing this in centimetres on your trimmer, then that's 2 centimetres, 12.5 centimetres, 14.5 centimetres, and 25 centimetres. Then we're going to turn it round through, and on the short side, going to score it at 3/4 inch on both sides, or if you're working on your trimmer, 2 centimetres on each side. So into that line. Get my hands in the way on this one. And I'll be coming off the screen because I'm coming right to the bottom, but that's okay. I'm going to turn it round at least 6 3/4, I think, but it's easier to do it, turn it round and just do it 3/4 inch on both sides here. So that is our scoring for the box. I'll just put that to one side, just rest it down there for now, without putting it away and making a noise. Right, where are my scissors? They vanished. Yeah. So this is just a simple fold over box. So to make this box, we're very simply going to cut in the center bits to cut up these two score lines, the short score lines, to the first horizontal score line. And I'm just taking out a little tiny bit each side. And do make sure, unlike that one, it is actually straight up the score lines. And then we'll do the same the other side. Straight up the score lines, and then take out a little sliver on both sides. There we go. And then on the corners, we're going to make tabs for the corners. So we're going to cut, actually I'm going to do them this way. So we're just going to cut up the score line on one side and cut out our typical 2 little triangles. Same on this side, cut up, cut out our 2 little triangles. And the same this end. So we're cutting up the score line and just mitering it by cutting out our 2 little triangles. And our final one. So that's our cutting. If it's easier for you, then do the folding first. I'm going to do it now with my bone folder, because we want this to fold nicely. So the box is going to fold in. So we're going to fold all of these ones in. We're going to give them a good crease. We'll fold this one in. And we fold the tabs in. And we do the same on the other creases. So fold those in, making sure it lines up at each side. And then we know that it's going to be a straight box. If you obviously don't make it line up, it's not going to be straight. And those 2. And finally, we'll do these side creases as well. Just undo that. So as I said, if you wanted to, you could do this folding first. I personally find it easier to do my cutting and then folding. It's a choice thing, totally up to you. It's more fiddly to do the folding when you've got all the flaps, but I think it just makes it a more exact fold. So there is our box, and what we're going to do is form the box and form one side by sticking these tabs down, and I'm going to use a little bit of tear and tape because I think it holds boxes better. So I'm just going to use a tiny bit on the edge there. It's a little bit too much, I'll fold that over, and a tiny bit on the top. If I do it as it's supposed to be, stick it on and then tear it, it's actually better than me trying to guess how big that should be. So stick it on, tear it off, stick that bit on, tear it off. Then we're going to put tape on the ends as well. So there's all my tear and tape, all on my tabs. Now, when we're putting this together, we're going to stick, I'm going to make this the bottom of the box. So I'm going to take those off, and we're sticking this to one side of the box. I'm going to take them off both sides. There, because that was the bit I needed to fold over because I'd made it a bit big. I'll just fold that in. So as before, whenever you're doing boxes, fold it in and hold the tab out of the way. Then, so you sort of fold, oh, I'm trying to show you on this bit's in the way. So we're going to make this corner exact. So we're going to fold it up exact to the corner, then press the tab down. Hopefully you're able to see that. And do the same this side. So get this bit out of the way, hold that exact, fold it up so it's exactly in the corner, then squeeze the tab to hold it. Hopefully that makes some sense. And then we're going to do the same on these front pieces. So we'll just take the top of the tear and tape off, fold it back. It's easier to show you on these. Make sure the corner is exact and then push that forward to stick it. Okay, and that always makes sure your corners are exactly square, which is really, really important with boxes. So I'll just do this final corner here. So again, hold it back, make sure your corner is exact, press it forward. Okay, so on this side, now we're not going to stick these bits in because this box is just going to fold over itself like this. So all I am going to do, I think they're okay actually. Sometimes you might need to mitre these corners a bit. I think they're actually going to be all right. So what I am going to do is take the tape off these bits, the cover off these bits of tape. What is it called? The backing of these bits of tape. Can't remember words. Same as before, hold the tab back, line the corner up, press the tab forwards. It's overlapping, so I'll just turn it in. Line the corner up, press the tab. So there is our box, and it will, you can either, I don't know whether it's easier to put these inside or outside. I think usually with these, so you've got this bit here, so that's going to come out over the top and close beautifully. And what I forgot to do and should have done is we could probably do with a little punch in there, if I can get my punch in now, because I should have done that well before. It's not going to go through. I should have done it before I put that together so I could just cut. So I shall use, could use a little die, that would work. Again, it's going to be difficult to do it here. What can I use on there? I think I might have to just trim it myself. That was really stupid. So when you're making this, do remember to put a little notch in it before you actually make up the box. So I'm now going to have to cut this from both sides, which is not good. There, that's not too bad. Would have been so much easier with a punch. So you do need a little thing for your thumb to go in just so you can open the box. That was really silly. So don't make that mistake. Make sure that you punch the bit out. I'll make sure in the instructions that's very clear to punch that out. So this is my box, and I'm going to build the card bit around it, if you like. So we're going to start off, I've got a bit more scoring to do on this piece. So I'm going to start off by sticking these two bits down. Oh, before I forget, we also need some ribbon to close this. So a decent bit of ribbon scissors. So we're going to put that underneath the box, and then we're going to have another bit on top of the box, which I'm going to make longer because I'm going to put it behind my DSP. So I'm going to stick this on using, again, some tear and tape. I can find the end. There it is. So we're just going to have, ooh, that's twisted. My actual tape is twisted. That's not good. So just somewhere in the middle. You can measure it if you really want to be exact. So my shorter bit of ribbon, stick that down there, and then I haven't forgotten when I come to stick the top on. So for these two pieces of card, we're simply going to stick these on first. And there is one more thing I wanted to do, if I can remember where I've put my punch for it, to do my rounder. I might have to use I'll use my other. This is not a Stampin' Up one. Got that one somewhere, but I think it's, oh no, is it here? It's here. I have found it. It was on the desk ready. I don't know. So for these, just two corners, I'm going to round the corners of the card by putting it in my punch and pressing down, and round the other one, the other side. And I'm going to do the same with the paper. So just two corners of it, because the other side is going to be behind the book. Oh, but it doesn't matter. So one done there. I'm going to do the same on this one. So that should be fairly obvious. It just neatens it up a little bit, which I just prefer. Okay, get rid of those bits. Right, so next stage is to stick our DSP to the cardstock. And we're just leaving much the same gap all the way round, just eyeball it, but it's roughly 1/4 centimetre-ish, something like that, because of the size we've cut the pieces. So the same on this one. Now we've got to decide which one we're going to make the front. So again, just eyeballing that distance, but making sure it's nice and straight. And then for one of the pieces, I think we'll make it this one, we are going to put on some tape, and I'm going to use the box itself to work out where I need to put the tape, so it's as straight as I can make it. So it needs to go across there. Made that tape long again. That's obviously what I'm doing today. But the lovely thing about tearing tape, it's so forgiving. We can just turn that piece in. So this is where I'm going to put this other bit of ribbon. And you'll see that I've actually stuck this further across, because this is the front of the card, which will be opening. So there's more sort of strain on this. So that's why I've done a slightly longer bit, so I can stick it down well on the card. Okay, we now need to stick these on, but I think what I'm going to do is prepare this back a bit first. So your other piece, oh, too many things on the desk. Your thin piece of card, we're going to bring our trimmer back in, our scoreboard back in, and we're going to score this long ways. And we're going to start off scoring it at 1/2 inch. If you're doing it in centimetres, do it at 1.5 centimetres. And then every channel on the scoreboard, or every, I don't know what it is, 1/16 of an inch, whatever. Anyway, every channel on the scoreboard, all the way through to 2 3/4. That's my last one. So I'm going to fill in all the ones in between. Okay, so you should have something, hopefully you can see the score lines in, with sort of flat bits either end at 3/4 of an inch, and just the sort of these bits in the middle, which we're just going to very gently just bend round, just persuade to curve. Okay, you could fold each one. I don't like that. I think it gives you actually a corrugated look, which I don't like. It'll just, can you see how that's just curving around nicely? I'm just going to encourage all of these little bends to curve around. Just my fingers. I'm just going to curve around our box here. So next stage is we're going to stick our front and back on. So it's just going to go in the middle. If I do it this way, you can hopefully see how the box just fits there. I've got a little overlap at the back, more of an overlap at the front, because that's where I want obviously that's going to be the opening bit, and I don't want any showing through behind the curved points. So to stick this on, I'm actually going to put the glue on the box rather than on the back of my card. So, glue is running out again. So I've put that on the top. I am actually going to, this is the front of the card, so I want the one with the ribbon. I'm going to turn this over, and I am going to stand up. Oh, my chair made a big noise then, I apologise. Just so that I can make sure that this is in the middle. Just press that down slightly to make sure it's going to stick. I've got the same gap top and bottom, and that it's nice and straight. Oops, just need to persuade it to move a little bit because it's not that straight. And then I'm going to put some glue on the back. Try and get some out of my nearly empty glue. Oh, I think I've got another one over there. Yeah, this one's much newer, so there's plenty in it. And this time I'm going to put this down and just eyeball to make sure it's the same front and back. And just gently press that down. And there is our book. So we can open that up and just press inside now. There we go. And the reason for putting this on is that when it opens up, we obviously need space in order for it to open up. So we're just going to finish this, we're going to use tear and tape again. And have the tear and tape running all the way next to the line here. And then a piece all the way along. I'm not very good at putting tear and tape on, I've decided today. All the way along the back here. And the same on this side. The two pieces will just hold it on really firmly because there will be a little bit of strain on it as the recipient opens the box, obviously. So second piece just by the bend in the card that we've already put in. There we go. Then we're going to take off the backing. And then this bit is going to stick as far as the first bend here goes level with the back of the piece. It should have been exactly the same size. We've got a little bit of a gap there. Might need to trim that. I don't like the look of that. I might have to just trim it along from here. Just take off a sliver. That's not easy. Obviously, I didn't measure that well enough. Not good. That's neater. I hope it's not the same with the back. That seems to be a better fit. So obviously I didn't measure that front one just quite as accurately as I should have done. So same at the back here. Take off those two pieces. Now I got this idea from, I'm not sure if she's a French or a Belgian demonstrator. I just happened to fall across it on YouTube and I can't remember her name and I do apologise for that. So again, just making sure this is properly lined up with that score line and stick that down. So there's my book spine, if you like, and my box. So that's my front actually. So we'll close the box off again and I'll just tie the ribbon, because if it's really too long I can always trim it, but actually that's about right to make it easy to tie the ribbon. I can always trim it later. So that's my box bit finished. So now it's my decoration. So I'm going to use my Spotlight on Nature set. I'm going to use this big stamp here. I'll just get out one of my very tatty and already very stained bits of paper, because I decided it was going to be easier to stamp on my circle once I die cut it, rather than do my stamping and then try and work my die cut around it. I don't know. It's totally up to you which you think is the best way. Won't need the full stamp, so I'm only doing it part way. So I want it roughly here. There we go. Stamp that. And just get my chamois to clean it. My disgustingly dirty chamois, but that's what chamois are for, they're supposed to be clean. And then I want just a little scrap of white, get rid of that paper now, to stamp my butterfly. There we go, just clean that as well. So I'm just stamping these in Memento because I'm going to colour them with my stamping blends. Oh, one more thing I need to stamp before I forget is my sentiment. I'm going to make this a thank you, so I'm using the thanks. The sentiments from the set, there's dear friend or thanks. That's the only ones that are, but thanks is fine because that's all I really want. So I'm going to stamp that on here and clean that stamp just quickly. Put the stamps away in a minute. Shut that before I put my fingers or elbow or something in it. And then it's just a matter of colouring this, and then I'll show you how to put it together. So I'm going to rush a little bit through the next bit. I'm going to use my Pretty in Pink and Summer Splash blends to do it. And I might add another colour on the butterfly, we'll see. But for these, I'm starting off with my lighter colour. I might not rush through because I don't think it's going to take me too long. So I'm going to colour the whole of each flower in the Pretty in Pink light. I'll do this one as well while I'm here. Don't want to do all three because you don't want to really let it dry before you've actually added the darker colour, so that it blends in better. You tend to get left with, oh, I've gone over the line slightly there. I'm not even colouring well today. There. And I'll do this one. When it dries fully, you'll see the effect better. I'm using the pencil tip, and all I'm doing is adding a bit of colour where the lines on the stamp are. And that tells you where you need to add those little extra bits of darker colour. So there's my flowers. I'm going to do my leaves, and the same thing, I'm going to use the light colour first. I'm just going to use the pencil end because I want to do a little bit in the stem as well, which is jolly hard, but we'll see. You could use any green you want, obviously. I just thought I'll use one of the end colours as they're available on my desk. Been doing quite a bit with the in colours, and I've been doing some monochrome ones, so do have a look at those because they are quite fun. I'm coming right the way down, even where the stamp has come off the edge of the... Oh, it's not easy doing those bits. I don't think I'll do that one. It's too thin. I'm going to make a mess if I do it. I've come off the edge of the stamp because the stamp actually goes off the edge, but that's fine. And then again, we'll add a little bit of shading down just part of the leaves. You can take your time over this and do it a little bit better than I'm doing it, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how I've done that. Just gives a little bit of depth to it. But I'm going to do my butterfly, and I am going to bring in some other colours, I think. Or shall I? I might just see. I might bring in a little bit of the light petunia, actually, petunia pop. Shall we try a little bit of light of that? That might just be nice in the centre of the butterfly. So we'll have a little bit of just around this bit of the, so just coming out from here. Don't want too much. Then I'm going to use the darker Pretty in Pink for the next bit. I'm not actually following the, you can see here, I'm not actually following the lines of the wings here. I'm just adding the colour from the middle outwards. You could be clever, you could add, you know, whatever you wanted. I could leave a bit of white actually, perhaps I should have done. Doesn't seem much difference between the two pinks there, but there's supposed to be. I'm just going to go over that and add a little bit more colour to the deeper bit. There. Might actually colour the whole of that back wing deeper because that would have been behind and have a bit more shadow. There we go. So just very quickly, I've used Pretty in Pink, the light petunia pop and Summer Splash to do those. Getting myself covered. Now the boring bit, which is fussy cutting the butterfly because there is no die, unfortunately. but it's not too difficult to fussy cut as long as you're not very particular about the antennae. So I tend to cut leaving just a little rim of white because it looks better if you do that than try and cut it right to the line. Well, I think it does. It's a choice thing. You can choose whether you leave white or cut it straight right to the dark line. I don't know. Which do you think is best? Tell me in the comments. Okay. So if you can't remember all the measurements I've given you, by the way, the blog is on Crafty Carol's cards. The link should be below the video, and you'll find all the measurements there and the written instructions if you can't quite remember how I've told you to do it. So for the antennae, I tend to just sort of come round the top of the first one, dip in a little tiny bit to the second, cut that bit out, there. So there's a little bit of a gap, not much of one. I'm going to be too fiddly now, aren't I? Because I don't want to cut the antenna off by mistake and then finish it off by just rounding round the final antennae. Probably should have done the antennae before I finished cutting the butterfly, actually. But hopefully, there's my butterfly. Just get rid of those bits. And I've got my thanks here. I think I'll finish that when I finish putting the rest of it together. So to finish this, I'm just going to stick these two rings together. And I have to say, I don't bother putting any glue just right around the very edge of that, because I think that way lies madness trying to do that. And I haven't got time. So I'm just going to put that on like that. I am actually going to put this flat onto the front of my, I need to decide where I'm going to put my, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut it so that it's roughly an angle, at the same angle as the word. And the bit you cut off, you can actually place it against the word across your piece, roughly where you want to cut it, and then cut up there. And we know then that the angle is the same. That's the key for getting diagonal angles looking right. So I'm going to, I think, have that somewhere down here. So that means I'm going to stick I'm going to stick this just sort of roughly just above the middle. So make sure my flower is actually growing upwards where it should be. So we're going to have that there. So I want roughly the same gap of DSP either side, which I've got. And then my butterfly I am going to add with a couple of dimensionals. And he can just be flying there, ready to land on a flower. And I'm going to, dimensionals are not for this. I think we will. Oh, top's already come off that one. Obviously you could use a happy birthday from another set, or dear friend, or whatever you wanted to use in terms of your sentiment. But hopefully you like this little gift box. So it just undoes by undoing there, and it'll fit in a large bar of chocolate or some toiletries or whatever you really want to give your friend. And as you can see, it fits together beautifully, which is lovely. Always good when things work. And then tie my bow. That's better, tied at the side, and then it doesn't get over the top of this again. So hopefully you like this little project. I hope you have a go at it. I like making boxes, and this is like a box and a card. You could write a little greeting on a piece of card and put it inside with the box, or if you wanted, you could put a die cut piece of card or just a simple rectangular piece of card on the back to write on. Up to you if you want to add that. I'm not going to do that because I haven't decided what I'm putting in it yet. And I think probably I might put something inside the box with whatever gift I'm going to do. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that little project. It's a little different, as I said, thanks to the German or French demonstrator on YouTube that I saw it from. I apologise that I can't remember the name of that person, but I thought it was a lovely thing to make. I've added the centimetre measurements, so if they're wrong, blame me. But if you want to find those, they're all in my blog at craftycarolscards.co.uk, link below the video. Please do like and subscribe. And if you want to sign up for my emails on the website, please do. And then you'll find out when I'm doing things, because I do live craft-alongs on YouTube and Facebook. So sign up for my emails and then you'll find out all those details. And I hope you like this project. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.